Good afternoon everybody and welcome to the Stamps by Me studio. My name's Claire Manning and I'm here on this Sunday afternoon. It's 1 o'clock and I'm going to show you some new super exciting things. So I've got another show on Create and Craft on Thursday. There's a couple of back in stock things which are you've all been asking for the new double up paints to come back and the embossing powders to come back because they both sold out so quickly. I'm still on my Diet Coke here. So those are coming back, but I've got a really super fun load of stamp and dies here for you. So I'm going to very quickly go through it. I did show them on Facebook yesterday, and then we're going to do the first demonstration, and we're going to keep it reasonably simple today because I'm very aware that although these designs are super fun, they are a bit different than what you're used to from Thirsty Brush. They go great with your other Thirsty Brush things and flower them up to your desire if you like, but I know there's a couple of techniques that we need to look at, and I know that they are very different, so I want you to get your head around that and you know, think about the kind of things that you're going to be able to make with these. But they really are super fun, and isn't it nice sometimes to just step out of your comfort zone a little bit? And you know, we do tons and tons of florals and we will always be known for that, but honestly I'm really excited to show these. Right, so they are stamp, die and stencil bundles, and we've got 3. The first one has got this amazing, they are geometric style. Look how cool these are. I've been waiting for these for a long time. So we've got this really cute cat, all this geometric. They're going to stamp beautifully on their own. You can colour in, you can emboss them. You've got really bold, fun sentiments. I mean, best friend, like, I don't know about you, but I actually do send my dog and my cats cards on their birthday and Christmas and things like that. Best wishes, best friend, friend wishes, I don't know. Best wishes or best friend are the main ones. And you've got those in different sizes of the fonts as well. And it's a really cool kind of like, it's a variation on that lovely typewriter font that we all know and love from Thirsty Brush, but it's very slightly different. It's a little bit more modern, and I think that goes with those geometric stars perfectly. Wait till you see the dies. So they cut out all that amazing detail from around that cat and that dog. So there's something really important to note there, and I'm going to show you that in this demonstration, is that because it's almost like a plate, I need to show you a particular technique to get that right so you get them perfectly lined up. So we'll look at that, no problem. And then you've got this really cool stencil that goes behind, so, or to make backgrounds, to make embellishments on the side. You've got paw prints that are cat or dog paw prints that are going to make it look, imagine sending, right, I know Tony has a little dog as well, doesn't she, Daffodil Daisy, and she doesn't look dissimilar in the face actually than this. Imagine like your child or grandchild or Tom sending a lovely card from him and Daffodil Daisy to Tim or something for his birthday, and having little paw prints on there as well. And then you've got these lovely kind of watercolour splashes. If you're not super confident of creating your own watercolour splashes for your backgrounds, but you really like that look, just ink straight through that, or watercolour straight through it, emboss straight through it, and it's going to give you that in seconds. So that's the first one, the dog and the cat. And I think I've just named them, it's super easy for you, but I'll double check. Then we've got an owl and a butterfly. Now everybody knows somebody who loves butterflies or loves owls, don't they? So again, think about the people that we struggle with sometimes. Children's cards, teenagers cards, guy cards, Those ones are for me because I do a lot of heavy florals in my own card making as well as designing. They're the ones I struggle for, and these are kind of the answer to that. But look at these sentiments as well. Party time, you've got, imagine your party invites once we're able to do those. You've got something for the teenagers, awesome, or just for you, you know, beautiful butterfly. Then the same concept with the die, and I'm going to show you. So really you can use either and or. So because it will cut out all the detail, they look beautiful on their own, the dies, or you can stamp and die together, or you can use the stamp on its own. It gives you that flexibility. Then the stencil that goes with these, the owl and the butterfly, is another butterfly, a lovely feather, and another shape of that watercolour splash for you. So again, if you just want some kind of real inky background, something really funky, you can create that in seconds. Next one. These, honestly, they're so much fun. Wait till you see the kind of stuff that the girls from the design team have made with them. It's just blown my mind. So they'll be posting as well, but so will I. Just brilliant. They've done party bags, they've done invites. Kerry even did, is it Kerry? Yeah, I think so. She's done one. It looks like a do not disturb sign. It says catnap time. It's absolutely brilliant. And then the final one that we've got, this beautiful unicorn, which if you chop off the horn, of course, that could be a horse as well, if you've got somebody who's into horses. You've got It's Your Birthday, It's Your Day, and a classic heart. So you've got Valentine's Day coming up after Christmas, but also that could work for your wedding cards, for even a birthday card. We use hearts for absolutely everything, don't we? And again, the same concept, you can use die, stamp, or both together, and I'll show you how to get them to fit absolutely perfectly. Really simple stencil for this one. I thought the heart would go perfectly behind the unicorn, or you've got the other watercolour splashes, and you can pop that massive inky one. That's what we're going to do today. Use the stamp, die and stencil of the heart, and just give you some ideas of how it works together. And then I'm sure you're going to be full of ideas about, you know, oh, so and so I know is super into unicorns, or you know, the nephew or the niece really loves owls, or that kind of thing. Then to go with it, we've got another couple of stamps and dies. These are going to be individual ones. Of course, you can get everything individually as normal anyway. This one is a really kind of staple background for you. It's in two pieces with some sentiments as well. And look how it's going to go perfectly with those geometric ones. But again, you could use that as constellations for something kind of ethereal, is that the right word? When it's stars and things like that. Themed, your guide cards, and just rainbows and something really fun. That's a stamp only one. Sorry, I'm rushing through, but I want to get to demonstrating for you as well. This one is completely different. Now, we've done lots of plate dies where you have bits cut out. This one punches all this amazing hole detail. So think of it like an alternative to an embossing folder. It's actually punching tiny, tiny little holes in that really cool geometric pattern. So if you like lots of white space in your cards, but sometimes you feel like they lack a little bit of interest in that white space, anything at all will go on top of that. Your florals, your geometric stuff, your birds, your, what else have we done recently, the frames, anything else that you've got. And then finally, our first ever alphabet and numbers. And these are A5 sets that they're in here, so they are really, really good size. The numbers are a little bit larger because I have more space to make them a little bit bigger, so you can do personalised age cards, and you've got things like the TH for, I'm doing one today that I would have sent to my daughter's for her 17th, so I'm using the 1, the 7, the T, the H, and you've got little dots if you want to do a time, say a time of birth, something like that. And then even the letters, they are really, really amazing sized. I think they're over an inch, like 1.2 or something like that. I'll double check the exact sizes for you. But the most amazing thing about these is that they are 2-in-1 dies. So can you see, and I'll show you when I cut out, it's the same for the numbers and the letters. Well, they're kind of 3-in-1 really. So if I was to cut that out, that's going to give me the large. It's going to take out the middle. So I've then got 2 separate ones to use, and I'll show you that when I cut it. Or I can put 2 together. I can cut into my cards with them. I can use just the little thin one. I can change the colours. It's just amazing. And so, you know, these are kind of things where, you know, you're spending money on dies, but you're going to use them so much. And I know sometimes it seems, it's a bit like, you know, when you have to buy a pair of black trousers for work or something, you don't necessarily enjoy spending the money because it's not the fancy things like the lovely designs and the flowers and the beautiful things, but you know that you need those staples in your stash to make your cards personalisable and really take them to that next level. So enough of my waffling. Let's do, what did I say I was going to do? The heart, didn't I? Get the TH. I'm going to do an A5 card for a change. Don't do those very often. And I'm going to use the stencil, heart stencil, to show you how to make a super quick background. And use the heart, stamp and die. Right, let's get everything else out of the way. Got myself ready, some card to stamp. Got an A5 black card, piece of white for my background, slightly smaller, and this is going to stamp and cut my heart and my numbers. Right then, let's do the background first. Let's work kind of from the bottom up. So for that heart stencil background, I'm going to use the large piece. Apologies if the sound is a little different here. I lost the sound on the live recording, so I've just recorded the instructions over for you. So I'm going to use the large heart, use it in the upper kind of third of the piece of card that is pre-cut to the A5 card blank. I'm just holding it down with a bit of low tack tape, and then you can use any inks or paints at all you like to go through the stencil. It's quite a large area, so ideally I would have used my large Stamps by Me blending brushes, but I haven't got them to hand right now, so I'm just using a small Dauber and a dye based ink. This is an Ultra New, but you can use Distress inks, Distress oxides, any kind of blendable ink you like, and it's going to give you a watercolour look without any painting, which is really easy, really quick. You've got no drying time, but obviously if you want to have that watercolour or painting texture as well, feel free to use your paints, especially like your confetti double ups or your metallics through the stencil too. They'll still give you and add even more to that watercolour look. So I'm just going through here a little bit at a time, and I'm going to make the colour darker on the outer edge of the hearts and then kind of fade in to the middle where there will still be some white space. Don't worry if your blending isn't perfect, your stamped and die cut heart is going to sit in the centre too. So it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect and to get that watercolour look for it, but it's really quick and simple. So just working around, a little bit more colour at a time, dark around the edge and lighter in, but you could mix up your colours. You could have rainbow colours to toning colours, contrasting colours, depending on whether you're using the heart or one of the animal stamps and dies. You could make it coordinate, or even emboss through the stencil and have a full glittery embossed or metallic background. Would look really cool. Okay, so I'm happy with the colour there, and if I peel that back, just take off the low-tack tape, and you can see how easily that has created a watercolour splash look, which would be quite difficult to achieve in an exact shape like that, and the exact kind of splashes and things like that if you were just doing loose watercolour on its own. Not impossible, of course, but just much more difficult to get it the same every single time. So the next part to do, just pop that aside, is the stamp and the die cut. So I want to show you a technique, because the plate, it's not particularly easy to see through exactly if you were to stamp and die cut after. To check that you've got it lined up correctly, I'm going to do the reverse, and I'm going to die cut and then stamp up and show you a quick technique of how to get that lined up perfectly every time. So I'm just die cutting anywhere on this piece of white card, doesn't matter where it is, I just need the shape cut out. So that's just going through my machine, and then I'm going to need my stamping tool and my Eureka here, and that heart stamp. Okay, so when it comes out the machine, don't worry about the little bits that pop out the middle of the die, but you do want to keep the main waste piece, as in the piece of card that's round the edge. So I'm just going to get my pokey tool and take that main die off. So that piece of card in the background that I've just pointed to, that's what you need to keep. Just pop that out through the release hole. But like I say, don't worry about those little bits. I'll clear those out the way now. You just want your main die cut and the card. So you can see exactly where that's just popped out there. So turn the piece of card over, pop the die cut aside, and then you need some low tack tape, a long enough piece to go over the back of the aperture it's cut out and overlap onto the waste card either side. I normally do it in a diagonal, and then it holds the die cut in place. You've got the sticky side up then, and you can just pop that in place, and that's going to hold. Doesn't matter how many times you lift up and down your stamp, you can now position it perfectly. And if you've ever had the problem where normally the die cut sticks to it if you do the die cut first, by using that waste and holding in the tape, it's just going to lift up and you can go in as many times as you like with your ink. For this particular pink card, I probably would have die cut stamped with one of the embossing powders, but I'm going to do it in black just to show you exactly how perfectly it lines up every time doing it this way. So I'm just using my VersaFine black ink. And this means now that's perfectly lined up, and it doesn't matter if I go in again. And even if that die cut moved out of the place, because I've got that waste piece with the tape, I could just pop it back in. And there we go. much easier than trying to line it up by yourself. So now let's just put everything together. We can pop that on top of the stenciled heart background and stamp a sentiment. I'm going to stamp the Each Your from the stamp set, and then I'm going to use some numbers to personalise the card. But you can see straight away that lines up really nicely, you see. And you've got plenty of space at the bottom there for your sentiments. So there we go, we've got the lovely watercolour look background. Let's pop the heart on. Just a bit of glue. Like I say, that would look amazing in your embossing powders. Just make sure that's straight. And then the last thing to do, I've got a tiny bit of holographic, and I'm going to do those numbers. So I've got hiding under my ink. So I've got a 1, 7, the T, the H. Let's put them all out together. Doesn't matter if they're straight on this piece unless you want to use the waste for everything, but what I tend to do is line them up pretty close together, and then rather than having to use loads of pieces of tape, I'll just stick it all down with one piece. And then I'm just going to stick those there. I've got a tiny fingerprint there. If I was really bothered, I'd cover it up with some sequins, but I think that even straight away gives so much impact. So any of those designs with the watercolour splashes, let alone like, you know, you're using the dog print, the paw prints and the feathers and things like that behind the owl, it's going to look really cool. So there's the TH, and even those have got that lovely punch out detail. You see? And then this is your 2-in-1. So you can use thin pieces. You've got a really slim alphabet and numbers. Still good size though, just slim, or I really love the look of the popped out. But like I say, you can get a third option by, if you cut them out 2 different colours and paper piece that back in, you've got another option as well. Or even as a 4th, you could use them to cut out of your card. Imagine that was in your card and straight, and then you had these in a different colour and you could piece those back in and have the negative as the large piece. So it really is quite limitless actually. I know it's just a alphabet and a number set, but I've made them as versatile as possible. Now what I would say is that if you want to get these really straight is just pop yourself a ruler underneath. I'm going to try and go freehand here. Let's see how well it comes out, but if you want them super lined up, just pop a ruler there with some low tack glue or something like that holding it in place, or another piece of card, even something like that, something to line them and put them up to. I'm hoping I can get them reasonably straight. 17, it's not looking too bad, is it? I haven't quite done them central because then I want TH to go up here. Got a bit of wiggle room with my glue to get it where I want it. And there we are, a really simple, modern, geometric, with some watercolour, of course, and then personalised with a number or a name or whatever you want. A funny nickname even would be really funny. My daughter's nickname is Brian. Don't ask. Her real name's Kate. She's called Brian in this house. But I really, really like the fact that we've got something now in the Thirsty Brush range to cater for the others in your family who maybe aren't your classic kind of floral design cards or nature kind of cards. So I really hope you enjoy making these fun cards as much as I do, and I will see you Thursday. I'll pop on Facebook and all the other socials the times for the show for you. But have a great evening, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.